welcome to If You Don't Agree, You're Wrong. That's our philosophy. That's the name of the show. And here with me, VHS Jace, is Jason Roy Gaston. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful. How are you today?
Very good. Very good. It seems a bit early. Is that Christmas in the background?
No. I'm excited for you. See, this is the day before a precious American tradition known as Gluttony Day. A day where you sit with the people who drive you the craziest, but you get through it by stuffing your craw with everything within reach, and you never stop. You just keep eating. And what's great is you take plates home and you just keep eating after that, and it never really stops until New Year.
I reckon it would be plumber's boom time.
Oh, like you know it.
A few days afterwards, the plumbers are getting calls.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That cranberries and fruitcake, that just don't flush all the way through.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So, yes, welcome to the show, guys. And, of course, if you could do us a big, huge favor, and if you can like and subscribe the video, if you could share it with all your friends, and show them what buffoons we are. And, Jace, talking about buffoonery, we've got a lot of buffoonery to talk about tonight. So let's just get into it. What do you reckon?
Let's do it. What are we going to talk about first?
Goosebumps. Yeah.
Okay, Goosebumps. I have to be complete and totally honest with you. I didn't watch it. And I will tell you why. It's because the show sucks. And
it does suck.
I couldn't do it. It started out, and I'm not going to have my 2 minutes here. I'm just going to say the show started out okay. It got fairly interesting. I thought, okay, this is inventive. And then it just crashed and burned within the span of 2 episodes. My daughter called me. He's like, Daddy, you need to watch this. There's some cute boys on it, and it's wonderful. I just love it. And I was just like, I can't. And so all week, I've had 3 days off all week. I just could not. I could not bring myself to watch Goosebumps. So this may be unfair. It may make people upset with me. I'll get over it. I couldn't do it. I said I'm out last week, and I meant it. I'm out this week.
All right.
You're out.
Well, I could, Jace. I could, and I did.
You are a sadomasochist, and you have my blessing to go on. Spoil it. I don't care.
Well, I'm going to get started. This final episode started off as a prequel to Slappy, basically, where we get to meet this human version of Can-Do, who really is don't get off my screen. This was an awful final episode. The first 10 minutes set back in the 1800s, we get his origin story, slightly interesting. But the moment they bring it back to our main character, it is dull and boring. And any show on any medium where the villain 20 minutes in gives everything up, like, I'm done at this point. I've seen that way too much. This isn't a Bond film. This is a lead-up of 10 episodes, and then we get the main villain uncovered who gives up his plan. I'm done. It was boring. I don't care that he was turning the town into dummies. All right? This show was made by dummies, as far as I'm concerned.
That was his plan?
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
So he was taking, and they made him build this matchstick spire, and he was getting all the dummies, and they did have one cool scene where it's kind of, done in mind trickery, but he makes all these people stand in the spire, and he sets them all on fire. That's some pretty horrific screens, but that was about the best 5 seconds of the whole episode. I honestly this was the worst one I've seen in the entire series. I don't think I've seen a show in this long where the ending was so horribly done. And it leaves it open for a season 2. For the love of God, I don't see anybody like anyone seeing unemployed here. But don't, for the love of it, don't make a season 2, Disney. This is an absolute unmitigated failure of a series. A misguided attempt to revitalize a franchise and not do the obvious anthology series, which it shouldn't be. If I had an ultra croc, I would put it up, but I've just got a croc, Jace. I'm so glad the show is over. It was dumb.
Wow.
It was just dumb.
You know, the way you were talking about it, it made me think Game of Thrones. Because Game of Thrones is one of those shows that started out really strong, and then they blew it because they just wanted to get it over with.
I will give it to them this time. They kept digging themselves a hole, and they just got faster at it. They just kept digging deeper and deeper, and they were totally cool with it. So, mate, let's move it on. That was I'll give everyone a spoiler. It's probably the worst thing we've watched in a long time, and the show's only going to be more positive from here. So let's get kicking into Krapopolis.
Oh my gosh!
Now we're going to do a 180 here, Jason. Krapopolis, and we are already we've been diving through this season so quick because that was episode 9 this week, Dungeons and Deliria. So, Jason, I'm going to let you take this one first. Give us your thoughts on this week's episode of Krapopolis.
Okay, so Krapopolis did not have to go this hard. That's all I can say. It did not have to go this hard. It told a story that was just terrific. The whole thing with Hippocampus and the Wood Nymph was just terrifically funny. You know, Hippocampus basically just discovering his own worth as a person. The whole bit with Deliria and Stupendous, also just an incredible side plot. All three of them felt like side plots, to be honest, but I mean that in the best possible way because all three of them were just as strong. But my favorite was Pants Guy. Pants Guy was my favorite. The fact that they turned this into an analogy for minorities who are basically disenfranchised by society. And they made it matter, and they used the lesson that they taught in this episode to grow one of their characters who you did not think was capable of growing, because our friend Tyrannus grows as a result of Pants Guy, and they just did it in such a wonderful, goofy, stupid way. Just something that should not even matter. You know, a guy invents pants, and everybody wearing togas is just like, no, that's against society. We're not going to have any pants in here. You could take that to mean anything. You could take it to be a gay analogy. You could take it to be a minority analogy. You can take it to be a trans analogy. You can take it to be a political affiliation analogy. You know, walking into a bar with a Trump hat and they say, get your fascist ass out of here. You know, it could be anything you wanted to. And they didn't clobber you over the head with it. They just told a good story with a good lesson, and the characters grew at the end. If you are not watching Krapopolis, you are doing yourself an incredible disservice, because this show is not only quality, it is high quality. And that is why I am giving it the only rating that I can give it fairly. That is the Ultra Tazza!
Wow. Fantastic. Excellent. All right. Pants Guy is it, right? It's just such a simple concept and idea just to bring in, like, I've invented pants, and the horror, just the horror of the reaction to it absolutely delighted me. But one of the great things about Krapopolis I like is how well they've already got their character so well defined. Schlub is just becoming my favourite character of this whole thing, because we're starting to see each week him just be that little bit more complex, that little bit more nuanced, and I absolutely love it. You're right, Tyrannus does grow as a character in this episode. Stupendous, I wasn't so sure in the beginning, but in this episode I really liked her involvement as well. Look, I don't know if I could spend 2 minutes talking about a show that I just adore so much. This has been the really big surprise for me in the last few months. I will say we had some really great guest performances this week. Will Forte played Campus, and David Cross, the great David Cross, Mr. Never Nude, he was the mage as well. And you just know them because they got such distinctive voices. You pick them out. But yeah, wonderfully done. If this show doesn't get picked up for another 10 seasons, something's wrong. This show has got a lot going for it. So I don't know how it's doing in the ratings, but let's hope it gets better and better. So because it's fantastic now. All right, that's it. It's an Ultra Dazzer as well. I'll throw up Ultra Dazzer.
You know, if it's not doing well in the ratings, a streaming service needs to pick it up, because come on, network TV is dying. It's dying big time.
Yeah. Did you know they just announced in the news, actually, Family Guy's moving for the first time in 20 years? They're kicking it out of the Sunday night time slot.
Really? Where are they moving it to?
I think moving it to a Wednesday night.
Oh, they're wanting to kill Family Guy. That's okay.
Oh, look, we all agree it's time to kind of move on, isn't it? So.
Yeah, it's time.
All right.
The Simpsons can move right next to it on Wednesday nights. It's fine.
Yeah. Now, before we move on to the next one, let's get a couple of comments here. Nita, hi. Hello, gentlemen. Hi, Nita. How you doing?
Hello, Nita.
Fairy Penguins, our loyal viewer. How are you? Good afternoon, sir. Good to see you. And yes, Muda Beans. How's Battle Cat going?
Battle Cat is over there sleeping, and I'm not going to disturb her because she loves to go crazy during the streams, and I'm just going to let her snooze. She has a tendency to kick me off.
Cat.
Hey, Cat, here you go. Cat! Look how angry she is.
All right, let's
It's cat. It's cat. It's cat.
It's cat. See-through cat too.
Yes.
That has a bit of green inside her by the looks of it.
That is kind of weird. I don't know why that happens.
Weird. You can see it through her leg now.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. Behind the curtain. All right. Let's move it on. Let's get now into the next show we're talking about, which is Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty.
Let's be honest, Jace. What a surprise, really, because don't know about you. I was a bit nervous walking into season 7. I think everybody was. And so far, it's proven to be really great. So, in saying that, I think it's... Gee, how many episodes have we gotten through now already? That was episode 6.
That was episode 6. Yes.
Yeah, Rick fending your Mort. All right.
Fending your Mort. They are really, really pushing those those puns, I guess, is what you would call them.
Very punny titles. It's always very pun-centric.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's so bad, you just have to love it.
Who doesn't love a good dad joke?
Yeah.
This episode here, was almost like something we had spoken about last week about Rick, about how dark his journey had been, him to come resolution. Yeah, I think this episode we find fun Rick again. In fact, by the end of the episode, we're back, baby, he exclaims. And the episode was fantastic. To me, the churro, I don't know, the whole churro bit, I loved being left on the planet and being love it. The Observer, it's fantastic. So we had a special guest then. This is absolutely wonderful episode. Rick and Morty season 7 has continued to be a light. And episode 6 is really the same on track. They are really hitting their stride. And I'm really... Because it's felt far more an upbeat episode for me. Probably more... it's a strange thing to say about Rick and Morty, but it did. The energy was more in this one, I feel. And to me, I'm really excited to know they've kind of dealt with Rick's journey. Him trying to come back to himself. And now that he has, wow, what's in store for the rest of this season? Season 7, wow, you're really kicking my butt. This so far... And we're halfway through the season, I believe. We've got one of the strongest seasons of the whole series so far. So, absolutely delighted. It's not getting an ultra dazzer, but it's definitely getting a dazzer because it is a really great show, really great season, a great episode. Here we go, Jace. Are you
Let's
ready
get started. I am ready.
Let's do it.
So, this episode was fantastic. One thing that I love about Rick and Morty is how they just play off of subverting expectations. And it seems like since season 1 and 2, everybody's wanted to see interdimensional Cable come back. And they keep saying they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And here we get kind of like an interdimensional Cable or Rick's mind blowers. And they just immediately turn it around within 7 or 8 minutes and turn it into this weird courtroom drama. And I was all here for it. I was here for the not Guardians of Forever turning it into this weird perverted whatever you want to call it voyeurism, and then turning it into a courtroom case when they kill the one that won't leave them alone. It was fantastic. This season, as you said, this has been one of the best seasons they've done so far. I was honestly expecting this to be an average season at best, getting used to the brand new status quo of the behind the scenes work environment. But it seems like they've taken this season to really prove that the show is fine. And not only that, the show is better than ever. I agree, the show is better than ever. This is not one of my favorites of the year. I think that last week's is probably still my favorite, but this, ow, there's a cat on my leg. But this, she disagreed. But definitely a fantastic episode. I'm giving it a roo-rific as well.
Brilliant, excellent. Yeah, no, it's been. I think we're all surprised at how good it's been. Like, and it would have been a fair assessment to say, oh, there would have been a dip in quality. But it just goes to show that sometimes what we think we know, we don't really know. Maybe now there's more structure and order and not so chaotic. We're starting to see the byproduct of that. So, fantastic. All right, let's move it on, Jace, to a show that we've been meaning to get back and talk to. That is a show that you recommended we watch, and that was Scavengers Reign.
Yes, the season is over, so I have finished watching it. Have you finished watching it?
I have.
All right, let's talk about it then.
All right, well, you know what? Let's open it up to you, Jace. Here you go.
So Scavengers Reign, if you have not seen it, it is on HBO Max. I know HBO Max is a villainous scum of scum and villainy. Wow, I messed that quote up. But I do encourage everyone who loves science fiction and everyone who just loves great works of art to go see it, because this television series is honestly one of the best that I have seen in a very long time. Especially, this is one of the best animated dramas I've ever seen. This is a show brimming with imagination and world building. It is a show brimming with fantastic characters and a landscape that is both amazing, haunting, beautiful, and dangerous with every step. This is a true alien world in all caps. Fantastic through and through. And it always goes in directions that I was not expecting. I don't think I predicted anything that happened in the show. So not only is the world fantastic, but the storytelling is fantastic. You actually get to the point where you care about these characters, even the ones that are not that great. You end up caring about what happens to them. And no one is safe. No one is safe. Even the characters that you love, no one is safe. No one is safe from death. No one is safe from change. And my favorite thing about this series is that it knows when to shut up and just let you marinate. And I love that. It respects your intelligence. It doesn't feel the need to explain everything to you. And it also doesn't feel the need to explain, even when you need something explained. Sometimes stuff just happens and we don't understand it. That's what's great about Scavengers Reign. I'm giving it my absolute highest recommendation. Watch it. It is an ultra dazzler, roo-rific. Scavengers Reign.
All right, I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. I never would have thought that I would be at a place where flat 2D animation I would be in awe of. But that's where I came to with this series. You said it perfectly. It is a work of art. It is beautifully executed in storytelling, in design, in world building, and the fact that you do emotionally connect your characters. When Sam, what happens to Sam at the end, like that kind of where he's healthier than he's ever been before, and then to see the tragic end of him, to see the character Cayman and see that journey as he becomes that symbiote with that creature, that telepathic creature, and then to see where that goes at the end. This is an important show to watch, just because if you're a fan of animation or just good storytelling, this has got to be on your list. It just has to be, because it is something that you don't see very often, and you don't usually see the people given the scope to create a world with such detail, and to make it so grand, and to have ideas that make you question a lot of things. So yeah, look, you got to find it. HBO Max here in Australia, you can find it on the binge streaming service. Look, just wherever you're from, find the show if you haven't watched it. Sit down and watch it. And to be honest with you, you can kind of binge it, but because it feels like to me like being in one of those isolation chambers in a way watching the show. Because for me, it just blocked the world out. I was there with them. So find it, guys. Watch it. Jace was right. It's an ultra dazzle all the way. Absolutely brilliant. Just fantastic.
I have to send a shout out to my two favorite characters, which of course is Ozzy and Levi. And I loved that whole thing. And as I said, I never expected it to go where it did.
Do you know who Levi was? Who she was voiced by?
I do not know who.
Remember the daughter from Arrested Development, the young girl, the one who ends up becoming a Hollywood producer. Ali Shawkat?
I remember the character vaguely. It's been a while since I've seen Arrested Development, but I do remember the character.
She played the younger cousin that Michael Cera had a crush on the whole time. Oh. You know how he had a crush on his cousin? Either way, she's wonderful. And that character, what I wanted to get to, that change from mechanical to organic. Oh, yeah. That fusing of both.
Well, I love the fact that not only did Levi change, but Levi's change affected Ozzy. And I think it made Ozzy a better character as well, because I was kind of expecting Ozzy to be that, hard-nosed, nothing affects me kind of thing, but it was almost
very likable.
No, she wasn't, but it's one of those things that they say whenever you're in the room with someone who gives birth, it changes you. And that's kind of the impression I got from Ozzy, was that being there while Levi was basically born changed her as a person, and it stuck with her throughout the rest of the series. And she became my favorite character. I really did. I really did enjoy that. And my gosh, that cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah.
Was that a cult at the end? That really looked like a cult to me.
It did look... Well, it looked like another aliens... I was confused because I didn't know if they were aliens or like a secret government department, cult department that were overseeing it. Like, I don't know. Which, I'm not putting any hopes in it, which kind of indicates they've left it open. But I have no idea if they're doing a season 2. But
I would pay it myself if I had the money. Yeah. I would give them the money myself happily.
Well, like I sent you that message. I sent you that message. It's been 3 days and it's still sticking with me. I keep thinking about it. It's just that good.
Oh, there was so many things that stuck with you, from Sam's last scene to watching the shuttle take off to that last scene with Levi's offspring.
Yeah.
Just incredible show. Watch it. Yeah. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, let's move it on. We're going to go back to the Fox network. And the show that we just talked about getting moved, which is Family Guy. Here we go again with some Family Guy. Have you watched Family Guy? In fact, I'm surprised we're even doing this. I thought we were putting this one on hold.
I thought we put it on hold too. That's why I didn't watch it this week. Jace.
Oh, well, thank you, because I have watched it, but we don't have to talk about it. It's on hold. So... But please keep watching, guys, because in a few weeks we'll do a little summary. So let's move it on. It was just on my list. That's why.
Oh, my gosh. You're like freaking me out. I'm way more responsible than this. I did watch Bob's Burgers, yes.
Well, let's do Bob's Burgers.
I would watch Bob's Burgers whether or not we were covering the show or not. I love this show.
Yeah, who doesn't love Bob's Burgers? We have certainly loved what we've seen so far on season 14, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
And this one, The Raccoon King and I, is the next episode. So, you ready to take it out, Jace?
Absolutely.
There we go. Let's reboot it. Go.
Okay, so The Raccoon King and I. There's a fight to save a raccoon from animal control because Linda didn't know what animal control was, apparently. When she called them, she thought they were going to come and help, but they were just going to come and kill the raccoon. So there's a madcapped race to kill the raccoon, all while the kids are basically hustling stadium seats up in their room for a concert that you can't really see out of the room. And Bob gets an unexpected reality check from a roadie from his favorite band. Again, I just feel like I say the same thing every week, so I'm going to try to just keep this quick and sweet. Bob's Burgers works for me because it is very grounded. This could be done in live action. I don't think it would be anywhere near as funny, but it could be done in live action. All these situations happening here. Out of all of them, I think that my favorite was definitely the roadie coming and talking to Bob, and Bob kind of realizing this roadie's describing his burger joint at one point, saying, hey, you know, we just do the same thing over and over again every day, and it gets old and we don't enjoy it anymore and we hate it. And then him just having this existential crisis until he looks up on stage and he sees the band is actually having a good time, and he realizes, hey, you can do something for a long time, you can get sick of it, but you can still find enjoyment in it. It's not a completely uplifting message, but it's a realistic message. And I thought it spoke volumes. I loved this show. I loved all three subplots. Love this cast. It's like a warm blanket. I watch it every day if I could. This is a dazzer. I just loved it. Rurific.
It is something I think they have tackled before with Bob's Burgers. Bob, like, because it's a big deal. How do you do a job like that and enjoy it for 20, 30, 40, 50 years every single day? And I loved it. I just this episode, from the moment the episode started with them setting up the stage just in front of his shop, it's just so. If I was just had to show somebody 10 seconds of what Bob's Burgers, the kind of comedy is, that's it, you know, right there. And yeah, it's a sweet episode, you know, and the more you watch the show, the more you see the family, Bob, Linda, the kids, and realize how wonderful people they are, that you want to actually be those people. You know, you want to be Linda, you want to be Bob, you know, because they're really good people. And I think that's what at the core of this show, why it works so well, is that family is so lovable, quirky, and more normal and perfect than any of us. So I what can I say about a show that I think is, oh, it's like you've got to watch it every week, right? You know, and it is a show that I have been guilty of just letting run in the background and get distracted. But you know, it's on all afternoon. So, no, it was a great episode. I loved it. It's definitely another dazzer. It's a great show. Well done, Bob's Burgers, and thank you, the creative team over in there, for Bob's Burgers, because wow, just wow.
You know, if you haven't seen the movie either, I went and saw it in theaters. Apparently nobody else did, though.
No.
It's just so much fun. It was a fun movie.
Yeah.
Do you know how this show was originally envisioned when they came up with the idea?
No, I don't.
Bob, it was a burger joint run by Bob and his family. I think that Tina was originally envisioned as a man instead, like a 17-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Same voice actor, of course, but the original concept was Bob and Linda grinding meat down in the basement, but they are actually cannibals. And they are,
wow.
Yeah, they're that's why the first episode of Bob's Burgers is called Human Flesh.
Wow.
So
really?
yeah,
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, so they were going to have Bob and Linda as cannibals, but then they changed it to the actual official pilot where they said, where the health inspector comes in and hears a rumor about them using human flesh, but it's not true.
It's not true. I remember that episode.
Yeah, those are on those are on YouTube.
They changed.
Oh, me too. I don't think it would have lasted.
No, so I'm glad they made that change. It worked out so much better. Brilliant. All right. Well, we're going to go something which is what's in animation, Jace, but it's maybe not be as uplifting as what we've just talked about, and that is Invincible. Season 2 of Invincible.
It'll uplift you and tear you in half.
Yeah. And we've got we're the third episode in of this series. Now, did we talk about episode 2 last week? I don't.
We did not, because someone hadn't watched it yet.
Sorry, but I've watched them both now. I'm going to talk about both episodes right now. Which the first episode, episode 2, was in about 6 hours. I lose my virginity to a fish. Greatest title I've seen all year. And the third episode is This Missive this machination. So I'll get started into it again. Invincible's just quality, isn't it? And it hasn't really slowed down in that. The episode 2, I will say, because I'm so partial to episode 3, was really good, but it felt like, okay, we're kind moving things along. But you know what I love about it already is it seems to be a lot of DC influence this season already. We're dealing with the Atlanteans, you know, which I kind of love. And what's so great about this show is the spin they do on this stuff, which is fantastic with these fish-headed people, which I absolutely love. And the violence. I mean, the violence in this show has always been off the charts, but even that slaughter of some of those Atlanteans and things like that was still kind of like, wow. And they're fish people. Love the big monster fight in the end. Gave me Attack of the Clones feels. Really love that one. But I did love episode 3 because it's Alan, the alien episode, which I love because it's such an interesting take on the Martian Manhunter character, where he has had to feel like he's had to hide. We get his backstory about how he came to Earth, and he's hiding, trying to rebuild a new life, but he gets inspired by the first Martian man, and then decides to create this character that's a shape-shifting character called Shapeshift. Look, just excellent writing. The cliffhanger at the end of episode 3 is like, okay, here we go. As you know, as he gets recruited to go back to that planet, there's some crazy stuff happening in this show. I can't wait for it. And you know what, when you said about the other show before, you couldn't predict where it was going to go. This is a show you can't predict where it was going to go. Absolutely bloody brilliant. So it's a thumbs up for sure. Well, it's hard to talk about those 2 episodes in 2 minutes, but your turn.
Okay. I can kind of predict where the series is going because I have the graphic novels over there. But you know what? They're making changes to the graphic novels, and I actually think the series is better than the graphic novels. And I know everybody, stop. No, it's true. It's true. The series is better than the graphic novels. I think Alan Kirkman thought long and hard after he wrote the graphic novels about how they could have been better, and they're making them better in this show. So we've got a 3-way split here. We have got, first of all, Alan Alien is, you know what? Fish People episode was good. It was good. I'm just going to say it was good. I'm not going to be talking about that, though. That's how I'm going to talk about 2 episodes. Alan Alien is just such a fun character. Seth Rogen was born to play Alan Alien. I love his backstory. I loved the fact that he basically gets completely slaughtered, and I don't know. It just to me it drives home just how vile the Viltrumites are. And you know, I know. Okay, spoiler alert: Alan's fine. Alan is fine. He's going to be fine. But it was a great cliffhanger anyway, because we had Peter Cullen. The great Peter Cullen was there, and he is part of the Invincible universe. Autobots roll out. I loved the Alan story so much, I'm having difficulty remembering the other 2. I know that, first of all, we had Mark having to go off and, you know, get basically hornswoggled into meeting his dad, basically, which was a great cliffhanger. Even though his influence has been felt all season, it was great to see J.K. Simmons back. Pardon me. And Debbie going to the support group was just fantastically dark. I loved it. Invincible, you need to be watching it. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to mention the mum story, Debbie's story. Oh, so well handled. Yeah. What a great show. See, I've never read the graphic novel, so I have no idea. So I go into this fresh, and yeah. Did you buy the graphic novels prior or as a result of?
I've had the first 3 omnibuses for about 3 or 4 years, and they're just fantastic. It is a great story. Yeah. And it's in the same universe as Witchblade and Savage Dragon, so there's a little bit of a crossover there as well. So every now and again, Savage Dragon shows up. Every now and again, Witchblade shows up. It's just great.
Nice. All right. Well, that wraps up our week. So now we've got to give things. We've got a couple of new shows this week that are going to come under scrutiny in what we call sudden. I reckon we've got a couple of crackers here this week, Jace.
It's so dramatic. I just love that.
It is. And it's very reason to be, because I think we've got a couple of really interesting shows to talk about this week. And the first one we're going to be talking about is, well, it's part of a massive franchise now. We're kind of franchise that snuck up on me, I reckon. And that is Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, a series based off the Godzilla King Kong franchise.
Yes, I may have heard of this Godzilla person before.
Godzilla character. And you got to think of it, there's been 4 movies, I believe, before we've gotten to the series. We had Godzilla, King Skull Island, Godzilla, the Monsters one. What was that? Was a good one, by the way.
King of the Monsters, yeah.
King of the Monsters, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And then Godzilla versus Kong, right? I haven't missed out on any. That's right. So,
we got the one coming up, Godzilla King Kong X or something like that. It's Godzilla X Kong, which I think is the romantic entry.
Oh, okay. Ooh, that's
Godzilla Kong XXXOOO.
Yeah, you got to subscribe to OnlyFans to watch that one. Okay.
In a world that said no, their love said yes. Godzilla loves Kong.
In these movies, right? What I'm fascinated why they even had a series, to be honest.
He's ignoring me.
Sorry, I lost you.
I said he's ignoring me. I don't blame you. I'd ignore me too.
No, sorry. Your headphones, because I've got bad headphones at the moment. Somebody please send me a pair of new headphones. Yeah, and Jace, we could definitely do with some new headphones.
I like my headphones; they're good.
Why did this franchise even need a series? Is probably the first question I had asked myself. But I'm going to give you my impressions of what I've thought of it now. Look, I like these films. I don't love these films. I'm not obsessed with these films. I see they have merit. But it's not like I've gone back and watched them more than once. So going into this series, I was a bit like, okay, let's see what it's like. But I got to say, in these first 2 episodes that I've seen, I've really enjoyed it. And the reason I'm enjoying it is I like the idea of them crossing over time periods. And we're dealing with we're dealing with the movies, almost like a Back to the Future 2-esque, revisiting kind of certain time areas and scenes and things like that. I really kind of like it. Having the Russell dad and son combo playing the same character seems a bit jarring, to be honest with you, but I kind of do like it. I don't know where it's going, and nor am I thinking this is really going to be anything but a series of exposition, which is not always a bad thing, because I love me some exposition. But I don't know what it's doing to drive the universe narratively forward, that it really needs it. But so far, seems to be that I've put a lot of money into it. The quality seems good. It's paced like some of those movies, which means it's a bit slow at times. But overall, I have enjoyed it. I don't think I'm going to say I loved it, though. It's on the high end of meh, but it is very much still, at this point, 2 episodes in, it's meh, a more positive meh. So that's where I'm at. All right, Jace, you ready to roll?
Yes, I am ready to roll. So my favorite part of this series is that it is leaning into the legacy part of Legacy of Monsters, because it's taking 3 characters that we know from the movies, and they're expanding their backstories, and they're showing how the existence of monsters has affected their lives and the lives of their children, their legacy, so to speak. It's not just Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell, but you also forgot Rin Watabe as well. The son of Ken Watabe is playing his real life son. Sorry, I got a cat. It just keeps leaping on my leg and using her full claws. I guess I enjoyed the series a lot more than you did. because I was instantly drawn in. I don't think it's an ultra dazzler, but it's definitely very enjoyable. I am curious to see where they're going to take this concept. I did like the link to Kong Skull Island, which is actually, I'm going to say some blasphemy right now, is actually one of my favorite, if not my favorite, King Kong movie of all time. The fact that the ship that they went on is the ship that what's his face was shipwrecked from in that movie. I thought that was a great bit of continuity, and to see what happened to her crew, that was pretty terrifying. I just enjoyed lots of stuff from this, and I want to see more because I'm very fascinated to see where they're going to take this concept. Now, whether or not the series is going to be successful or not depends on where they take that concept. But for now, I'm happy, so I'm going to give it a Rurific.
All right, there you go.
Yes. Yeah. But there is one more thing I need to say.
You hit the wrong button. Yeah.
Yes, I hit the wrong button.
Yeah. That didn't sting as much that time.
Yeah. You know what? I've never made a mistake on this show with the graphics. It's quite a novel experience.
Oh, ouch. That hurts. All right, let's talk about the next show. All right, let's get into the next one on our sudden death list. Is something I had no idea was even coming down the pipeline. And that is a sequel to Scott Pilgrim called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. And believe it or not, guys, yes, it's an animated show, but it is voice acted by all, and I mean all, the original cast. And made by Edgar Wright as well. So this is as close as you'll ever get to a sequel to Scott Pilgrim. So let's have a chat about it. I'm going to let you know what I thought about it now. Instantly fell in love with this. Within 2 minutes of watching it, I was like, oh, I'm in. The tone is there. The characters are there. And what feels like very much, without giving away massive spoilers, what seems to be in the beginning a remake of the original movie, but done in a bit more long form. Felt in the beginning that it was, they're staying a bit more accurate to the graphic novel, or to the comic. And so things are being a bit more fleshed out. But oh no, this show takes a complete right turn into something that I wasn't expecting. But wow, is it not paying off so far? Getting to revisit these characters, knowing that the voice actors, you can hear it in their voice. They are having fun being back with these characters. And also seeing some of these characters getting new challenges. It's been really, really wonderful. I've only watched half the series so far, but those 4 episodes have been absolutely magic to me. I love it. I love the art style. I love the writing. I love the direction where it's going. I was grinning ear to ear through this whole 4 episodes. I loved it. It's definitely a dazzer. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. So far, mate, A+ for me. So definitely a dazzer. All right, Jace, your turn. What did you think of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off?
I'm going to reveal something about me that I have been keeping secret for years. I didn't care for the Scott Pilgrim movie, and I've only seen it once. And I think I need to revisit it because, as you said, whenever this first came up, whenever the first episode started going, the first thing I thought of was, are they just redoing the movie? Is this whole thing going to be like the first couple of episodes of the Spaceballs series where they just retell the movie? That's a jip. And then they take a right turn. I'm like, oh, it's an alternate version. And then they have more fun with that concept, which I thought was great. One thing that I noticed that I actually sent to Jace while we were watching this was, this reminds me a lot of He-Man Revelations, because it is basically telling a Scott Pilgrim story without Scott Pilgrim in it. And Ramona has to go around and solve the big mystery, just like how Tila had to walk around without He-Man. And I like that spin. I like the fact that these characters are having to interact in this world without the main character. I think that's just a wonderful way of getting a characterizations from everyone. And I actually just finished watching the 4th episode just a few minutes ago. And it was probably my favorite episode
Mm.
because we see one, apparently the Scott Pilgrim movie was made in this universe following Scott Pilgrim losing his first fight. They just told a different version of it, so that was kind of clever. But then we see Evil X #2 go through some great character development, I thought. And these cardboard cutout characters are becoming more and more fleshed out. I'm gonna have to rewatch the Scott Pilgrim movie, I guess. Maybe give it another chance because I am enjoying the show. I do think it's a lot of fun. I love the art style. I love the direction, and the fact that the whole voice cast came back to voice everything says something about it. I'm giving it a thumbs up.
I am shocked to hear that you weren't a big fan of Scott Pilgrim. I tell you what, it is worth a rewatch. It's one of those so unique. It's so well made. It's so entertaining. Scott Pilgrim. You know what? That was a flop at the cinemas too. That made
yes.
money. I remember that.
I remember watching it in theaters and just, I don't know, maybe I was just not in the right mindset because all my students at the time were just going crazy about it, and I went and watched it, and I just thought, really?
Yeah, I think you probably could. Yeah, I mean, I tell this famous story of going to see Fight Club, right? Well, sorry, watching Fight Club the first time and turning it off 3/4 of the way through, going, "This is stupid. I don't like it." That's and then obviously being told, "What? You're not saying? Got to watch this movie," and then loving it. So I've been guilty of not liking films the first time I see them too. And generally, when somebody kind of goes, "Nah, you got to go back and rewatch it," I do that. So hopefully, you get a more positive reaction with Scott Pilgrim. But I can't wait to watch the other half of that season because I loved it. All right, Jace, it is time now for us to share with the world, with the audience out there, a couple of hidden gems. All right, hidden gems, which we can get rid of that stopwatch and we could just sit and talk. Tonight, I've got a film that I want to. Obviously, I'm talking a lot of Australian films here, and it's going to continue even more. And the movie I want to recommend for people out there, if they haven't seen it, is an Australian movie made in 1999 with a couple of people you may know called Two Hands, starring a very young Heath Ledger and Rose Byrne. Set in Sydney, this is a crime drama. Basically, as a young man who's a bouncer in a stripper joint, basically, gets caught up with the Australian underground and finds himself doing some money run and some drug running, and ends up owing Brian Brown, if you remember him from FX, anyone, that's how old we are, owing him a lot of money. And he has one night to kind of try to find that money and get it sorted out. But look how young they are there. This is a wonderfully executed movie. Really exciting. Well done. Heath Ledger, this is his breakout role. The reason that I believe that he got his first roles in Hollywood in A Knight's Tale and 10 Things I Hate About You was off the back of his performance in this. It is so well done. It's a really fun crime kind of adventure, and you get to see some really great talent. It won the AFI, which is our Oscars film of the year, and deservedly so, because it has some really wonderful performance. And unusually enough, it plays more like an American movie than an Australian movie, because Australian movies have there's just sometimes a bit of a different tone to Aussie movies, but this is very energetic and very paced well. So, Jace, if you haven't seen Two Hands, mate, chase it down. It's a really great Aussie film, and that goes for you guys as well. All right, Jace, what are you going to promote this week?
So, as a tourist of the world myself, a few years ago, this very tragically limited series came on Netflix. I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about it, but I mentioned it online one time on what was once Twitter, and one of the stars of the show liked it and wrote back and said, "Hey, we appreciate you watching." I don't think enough people have seen it. It's still there. And it's a documentary / reality TV thing, but don't let that don't let that chase you away, because it's absolutely fascinating. And it is a little show called Dark Tourist. And
Wow.
what Dark Tourist are these two gentlemen who go around the world and they explore things that are taboo or maybe not
Wow.
really known about. And it's everything from going to Pablo Escobar's old hangouts and touring them, to going to forbidden areas in Fukushima. They go and in the United States, they find an entire industry built around tourism involving Jeffrey Dahmer. One of my favorites is an episode called The Stands, where they go to one of the most nuked place on Earth's.
Wow.
I don't know why I pluralize that. And they find a crater that has been filled with rainwater, I'm assuming. And this crater is radioactive. Everything around them is radioactive. But and this sounds insane, but they actually test it before they go in. They fish and swim in it. And they said that all of the radiation is down at the bottom. And as long as you stay in the upper 6 feet of the water, there's no radiation. I wouldn't get in that water, but if other people want to do it, that's fine. There is just so much weird stuff they find. And whenever I go on my road trips, I go and I try to find the weird stuff, because to me, that is the most fascinating. And these people go to places I'm never going to be able to go to. So I was living vicariously through them. So if you have not seen this, if you have not heard of it, it is called Dark Tourist. It is on Netflix. There's only 8 episodes.
I'm watching the show.
Yeah, I've been waiting for years to see if they would make more, but apparently that's it. There hasn't been a new episode since 2018, so I guess it's over, sadly. But yeah, only 8 episodes. It's great. I don't think they go to Australia, though. Let me see. Southeast Asia, Europe, the Stands, United States.
It'd be a whole season just to come.
Yeah, Australia is just that they were like, hey, let's go. We can go find voodoo and
we want to be in danger. We just don't want to die. So
yeah, we don't want to die. Let's go swim in the radioactive hellhole in Uzbekistan. Let's just do that.
When you sent to me, this is my hidden gem for this week, I'm like, what's this? And I Googled it, and I'm like, I am watching this show now. I'd never heard of it. So that's a
great show. It is so much fun.
All right, Jace, that ties it up for another week on If You Don't Agree, You're Wrong. Before we go, let's have a look and see if there's any messages in there. There's our friend Yo, who's always the most articulate writer we have. Good on you, Joe. Yes, Fairy Penguins agrees with you. He loved Dark Tourist. So, based upon you two guys loving it, I am
huzzah! A man of quality.
Hey, yes, of course, he's talking about Two Hands, Aussie. It is a brilliant movie. It is. You've got to check it out. It's a great movie. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for watching as you do every week. Don't forget, please remember to like and subscribe and share. It really means a lot to us. That algorithm, nobody can work it out, but we do know interaction means a lot to it. So please do that for us. And that kind of signs us out, Jace. You got anything more to add?
If this cat jumps up on my leg one more time using its full claws, I'm going to throw it into the ceiling fan.
Okay. And I did forget to say, don't forget to watch Jace tomorrow night on a very special Thanksgiving episode of Captain's Quadrant with Joe Dove. It's their 99th episode. I'm very curious to see this Thanksgiving Star Trek episode. Chat, what are they going to be talking about?
Well, it's going to be turkeys. Turkeys talking Star Trek.
That's it. You can also catch me on Pop Culture Spread each week on every Friday night with me and my other Aussie buddy Rick as we talk Hollywood news. And we have a special guest who will be joining us for the entirety of the show this week, which we just come and watch and see who that is. And that's about it. And, of course, if you love yourself a bit of Member Berries, come to my shorts-only YouTube channel, VHS Jays, and I've got all these intros from all my favourite stuff from all across 50 years. And do us a favour and like it, because I feed off of Member Berries. I need them, and I suggest most people do as well.
You remember Buffy the Vampire Slayer? You remember Giles? You remember Anya?
Yeah, that's it.
You
Absolutely.
remember the musical episode? Oh, I love the musical episode.
Yeah, we all do it, don't we? We all do
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Let's get out of here. We'll
I
catch
can
you guys
sing that
next week.
entire musical episode. You want to hear?
No. We're out of here. Yep. She'll be right. All right. Now you can sing it if you have to.
Every single night, the same arrangement. I go out and fight the fight. Still, I always feel the strangest estrangement. Nothing here is real, nothing here is right. I've been making shows of trading blows, just hoping no one knows that I've been going through the motions, walking through the part. Nothing seems to penetrate my heart.